Howdy. Today is July 1st. July 1st? Yep. July 1st, 2021. And I am in Victorville, California. And the reason I'm in Victorville, California is because I was driving up the 15 towards New Mexico last night to get to the rainbow gathering, and the auxiliary water pump went out on the van. So, dealing with that. It's all good now. The car broke down around 9:30. By 10 o'clock, I'd kind of assessed what the situation was and that I was in no place. I needed to get off the highway, and I called in my Progressive Road Service, and I really can't give a commercial for Progressive on this one. It took them till 3:30 in the morning to come and get me. And but the brother that did come, it came from Barstow, and his name was Jake, and we had a good time talking and laughing and joking and whatnot at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And he got me to where I am right now, which is this shopping center parking lot across from the O'Reilly's auto parts store. And after getting a couple hours sleep and the sun coming up and baking this place, one of the great things is he dropped me next to this shade tree, so I was able to get a couple hours sleep this morning. So yesterday, the 30th of June, was probably one of the most challenging days of my life. It started pretty early with a consultation with an oncologist at Harbor UCLA, and then at 2 I had my sixth and hopefully final infusion, which was by our agreement it was a double infusion, so it's now I have 400 milligrams of that stuff, of this not cisplatin, what I'm saying, of this what's called Pembro or Keytruda, coursing through my veins. It was a very humbling experience because the woman that was in the infusion bay with me in the next little bay there, she was, somehow they got our paperwork mixed up, so that when you leave, they give you this packet of information about the drugs and your vital signs and all this kind of stuff. And somehow I got some of her paperwork, and I didn't find out until I looked at it later when I was away from the hospital. And this woman, the sister, she's probably terminal, and they were talking about hospice. So, and here I am, looking like relatively the picture of health, about to launch on my grand summer of trying to recover from all of what's happened over the past 2 years, and this last double dose of immunotherapy drug. And I was trying to get to New Mexico, up the gatherings up near Taos. I was trying to get there. I'm actually 13 hours away from there, where I am parked right now. I was trying to get there because I know there's a hot spring there, and I found that if I can soak in the first couple of days after the infusion, it really kind of mellows out the arthritic symptoms that are a side effect of the drug. But instead, here I am, and the auto part isn't going to be in until 11-ish tomorrow morning. The good thing is I got it out already, and I marched it around in this heat. I mean, it's got to be over 100 degrees here now. I got it out, and I walked around to all 4 of the auto parts stores within a mile of this place, and finally decided on the place that's right across from where I'm parked. Literally, it's like 100 yards that way. Probably could have saved myself all the walking around, and but there's nothing like running in 100-degree weather and sunlight and everything to really challenge or actually define for you just how healthy you are. I was amazed I was able to run as much as I did, and I was marveling at all this time, this 18 weeks of treatment. I haven't really been able to do I haven't been able to train much as far as paragliding goes, but in general I haven't been able to train just regular physical stuff. When I was in Big Sur last week, I got in a little regimen every day of running this big loop along the coastline for the first time since I'd started, and that showed me that all the banging up my knees that I'd done last fall doing my training, that they've had a chance in these 18 weeks of treatment, they've had a chance to heal because I've been laid up so much with the fatigue that comes as a side effect. So anyway, I haven't done one of these videos in a while, and it seemed like a really good moment because I've got not a whole lot scheduled until that part gets here. I looked into motel rooms around here just to get a bath or something, and it's really, they're either booked or they're just not nice people. It just didn't seem, or it was just stupid expensive. I'm like, I've saved my money, but it just didn't seem like it was. I didn't feel like throwing it at the. I'm not into throwing money at problems these days, even if I have the money. It's really about, what seems in my flow, obviously. And so here I am. I figured I'd take a moment and kind of catch people up. I haven't talked much about, I haven't actually said anything about the past 2 weeks. I spent about a week and a half up in Big Sur, primarily focused on being in the spot where the Emperor Dragon Line, Earth Energy Line, Subtle Energy Line crosses the Pacific Coast Highway. I did several dowsing surveys of that line and its twin in Monterey, and its twin in Monterey. There's what we call, the Monterey node is near the Monterey airport, and it's pretty accessible, except the node was, until now, in the middle of of private property. But one of the things I'm going to tell you about is what's been happening since 2017, between 2017 and 2019, is that all the ley lines on the planet are starting to expand. And I'm not going to go into the minutia of why that is, other than to say it has something to do with this magnetic sheet that is emanating from the galactic center, and our solar system is passing through it, constantly, or it's passing through us, and we're passing through literally one of these waves, and it's activation time, everybody. So, and we will be for quite a while. In practical terms, what that looks like on the ground is that all the ley lines have been expanding, and I'm here to tell you, 6 months ago, I was for the December solstice. I measured the node in Monterey and the node in Big Sur, and the width of the Emperor Dragon lines where they cross the road, and there's two solar lines that form that node permanently, and they also cross the road adjacent to where the Emperor Dragon line does. 6 months ago, the solar lines were 80 paces wide, and the Emperor Dragon itself was 180 paces wide. When I measured that same spot last week, the solar lines are 200 paces wide, and the Emperor Dragon lines are 400 paces wide, approximately. And then, I spent a week there in Big Sur, and then towards I think it was last Sunday, I had to shoot up to deliver Jasper, my sister's dog, back to her place in Pacifica. And on the way, I measured the width of the Emperor Dragon line that runs through Monterey from the Sunset Point on the Monterey Peninsula, and then it makes this node at the Monterey Airport with two other solar lines. And like I said, that was 180 paces wide last. Guy's got a flat tire. Driving on a flat tire. Know it well. All too well, actually. That is a great story for another time. Oh my goodness. I had this flat tire. That forced me on a Sunday in Massachusetts, in Boston, to drive past the state police at the Massachusetts State House, on cobblestone streets and everything. Tore the bejeebers out of it. Just tore up that tire. I was riding on the rim, and people were like, that you've got a flat tire. I was like, hell yeah, I know that I have a flat tire. The car is like, doing one of these. Yeah. Anyway, there's more to that story for another time. But anyway, measuring the Monterey node, the Emperor Dragon at the Monterey node last Sunday, it was approximately 470 paces wide. So this is only going to increase, keep happening at the solstices and equinoxes, and we'll obviously keep monitoring them. I sent these measurements to my partner in this project, Rory McQuestion, what he calls himself the geobiologist, and he's on here on Instagram as the geobiologist, and I can't recommend his feed enough, because it's like a master class in earth energy science. but anyway, I sent him these latest measurements, and he sent me back this text that said that they're projecting that the harmony period, which is when that happens at the solstices and equinoxes, and has been expanding in days for the past 5 or 6 years. Like a year ago they were six days. This one that we're in right now is 12 days. What that means is that all the ley lines on the planet are vibrating at the same frequency during that period, and unlike what they did before 2017, the smaller ones, the ones that vibrated at a quicker pace, would slow down, and the emperor dragons would speed up, and they'd kind of meet it at a rate of a frequency of 24 hours. Now all of the ley lines slow down to match the frequency of the emperor dragons, and at 48 hours during this harmony period right now, which is 12 days long. And his projection is that the harmony periods at the solstices and equinoxes over the next 2 years will, over the next 2.5 or so years, will expand till the solstice of 2024, the December solstice of 2024, and it will be. They're projecting that this harmony period will end up overlapping the spring equinox, and at that point, the ramifications of that are that all the portals that are these energetic structures that are formed at all the nodes on the planet during the harmony period, that they will remain open from then on, 24/7, 365. And with the expansion of all these lines, in terms of width over the next several years, the nodes themselves are going to expand and become larger. And it came to me actually when I was at the Monterey node, I kind of saw that the node itself on the ground is the bottom of a sphere. And there's another matching sphere that's just below the surface. But that sphere, as the ley lines get larger in width, the node itself gets larger on the ground, and that means that sphere gets like immense, and that's only going to become more so. And I actually had that space that you get into just before you wake up, and you're really clear, but you know that you're still sleeping and you're still dreaming and everything. And I like to work in that area, that mental space. And what I got was that I got an image of, I was trying to like how would I paint that image? How would I recreate this image? And I was like, well, if you could Photoshop, you take a picture of one of these, big oak tree, big grand tree, massive tree with huge branches and everything like that. If you'd Photoshop that, made a double image and then flipped it over so that it was the root system was the same, it was a mirror of the tree branch system, and that you see that structure in the middle of this sphere, right? And then another whole sphere with the same structure underneath it. That's what I saw, and I realized, what Rory has shared in the books that he's written about this on this topic is that where the emperor dragons themselves, where the emperor dragon lines cross, there's only about 20 places in the world where they cross one another. Because there's 6 pairs, there's 12 emperor dragon lines all over the world. They don't like to cross one another. They'll do all sorts of contortions to keep from crossing one another. But they do so, and until 2017 there were 6 places on the planet where they did, and only 4 of those were on land. And since the 3 new emperor dragon pairs showed up between 2017 and 2019, the last one being the one that goes across America, that starts or ends in Big Sur and Monterey and goes all the way across the country to Kitty Hawk in the south and Newport News, Virginia in the north. Wherever the emperor dragons themselves cross, the sacred geometric structure that they create is a variation of a double tube torus, which is essentially, like 2 bagels, one setting on top of the other. And but when you add, some of the larger solar lines or the Earth generated lines, I call them solar lines because they're generated by the cosmic energy that's coming from the sun. It interacts with the upper atmosphere and creates neutrinos that go down through the Earth and interact with the core of the Earth and creating low frequency sound waves that radiate up to the surface, and we see those as these ley lines. The ones coming from the galactic cores that are in our galactic neighborhood are generated the same way, but from cosmic energy coming from the galactic cores interacting with the upper atmosphere, creating neutrinos that interact with the core of the Earth and generate these low frequency sound waves that come up to the surface and appear as these emperor dragon lines, the largest subtle energy lines on the planet. The ones that are created by the Earth are just created by the core of the Earth, the friction between the core of the Earth and its outer core, creating low frequency sound waves that radiate to the surface, and they appear as these somewhat ubiquitous in that they're friggin' everywhere. You throw a stone and you're going to be hitting one of these Earth generated lines. They're not as wide as I don't know how wide they are now. I haven't measured any Earth generated lines. Just the emperor dragon and the solar ones at these nodes. But where these cross, they create some sort of sacred geometric structure that is similar but not the same as the sacred geometric structure that's created when where the emperor dragons cross one another. And so that's what I was kind of meditating on in that dream that I had, and I was like trying to figure out like what would that energetic structure look like, and that's when I saw the tree inside the sphere. What I realized is that no matter what the sacred geometric structure within those spheres are, or at any where any node is, what they all have in common is the geometry of a sphere, the sacred geometry of the sphere. So, and that's when that's when I had that revelation about, I could actually kind of picture it when I was at the node in Monterey. So anyway, that's what I have been focusing on. I went to Big Sur specifically to sit in that and sleep and dream and meditate in the energy of the Emperor Dragon where the Emperor Dragon crosses the road, the PCH in Big Sur. And I've been kind of working on this. One of the things that Rory discovered is that during harmony periods, if you go to a node or if you're just on a line, music is it takes on a whole another dimension. And so I've been composing music while I was there, and not just this time, but the previous solstice equinox periods, and just kind of playing with that. At the same time, if you've been paying any attention to my feed at all, you know that I've been doing. I set out when I knew that I was going to be undergoing this treatment for the cancer. I decided, they told me it was going to be 18 weeks or so, and I was like, well, I want to turn this into something positive and yummy, and I want to turn this energy into something, lastingly yummy for people. So I set myself the task of creating the 8th book of Divine Metaphysics. And what that entailed is composing 10 questions on Divine Metaphysics every day, and then recording myself reciting those, and then composing a piece of music to go under it, and then each clip, and then putting it together with some sort of video footage of something interesting, and then putting all that together and putting on social media. Initially, it would go up on TikTok and on here, 59 seconds of whatever the daily thing was, and then the full video would go up on YouTube each day. And that worked all well and good, except when I went to Big Sur, because I tried to upload my daily whatever on the first day I was there, and I think it was day 88 of the this whole journey, and it took. I got it up on TikTok, but it took hours and hours and hours of trying to upload it, because there's not a lot of reception in Big Sur, which is wonderful, and I finally realized that the universe, it really didn't want me to be doing that. It wanted me to be giving my full attention into the depth of the journey, and recognizing again that this whole thing is part of a shamanic journey that I've been on for the past couple of years, with the cancer being just one part of that, and so I tried to do whatever I could to just sit with the energy and be open to whatever the universe wanted to share with me. And I continued to create the daily Divine Metaphysics entry, and for the most part, but I couldn't post it, so I have them archived, and now I think I'm working on day number 95, and so over the next couple of weeks and months, I'll be putting together all of that video footage into a movie, and I will be compiling the daily writings into a book, book format that will be both, PDF and a physical copy that people will be able to buy, purchase, whatever. And you have all the archive of all of that stuff on all my social media feeds as well. So that's kind of what I'll be doing over the next couple of months with that project. So I just wanted to kind of, fill people in, because I haven't really been online much for obvious reasons, for as I've described, for the past couple of weeks. And then I knew I kind of set it up so that I would have these, the 29th and 30th of June would be kind of a whirlwind medical, 2 days at the hospital, going to this appointment and that appointment and whatnot. So bottom line is I had a PET scan day before yesterday, and it shows that there's no cancer there. Combine that with the results of the CT scan that was done last month, which showed the same thing, and this study that I've been part of, where they sequence the DNA of that of the cancer cells, and then they look for the genetic markers in the blood samples that I give them every time I go to get an infusion. And that study showed that I was cancer-free by April 7th. After starting treatment on the 17th, on St. Patrick's Day of March. So I had committed to at least these 18 weeks, these six infusions, 3 weeks apart. And you may have heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. What I discovered is that each one of these infusions has been like its own initiation. Just when you thought it couldn't get any deeper, you'd go deeper at each point. And the symptoms, the side effects and stuff kind of wane towards the end of the 3 weeks, and then you get another infusion, then you're back into coping mechanisms and whatnot. I have been using marijuana as a mitigator for especially the arthritic symptoms. It really seems to help, but who am I kidding? I just like getting high. I love the mental gymnastics and challenges of that are presented in that way. I love to use that tool as a shamanic tool, and so that's what I've been doing. And because of this, somebody, a wonderful person that saw what I was going through at the beginning of this whole thing, who has her family's been growing pot in Northern California for a long time, a couple generations. She just gifted me a care package and said, "Here, man, you're going to probably need this." And she's got her own very serious medical challenges, and bless her heart, and thanks so much for answering the call. And it's been very helpful. Everybody's going to do it their own way, and I hope that what I'm going through and what I've been through is in some way inspiring and beneficial for everybody, and I've certainly benefited. I feel like I'm a better person having gone through all of this, and I'm very grateful. I mean, yesterday I'm sitting there, staring out the window, needles in my arm and everything, and I'm just feeling so blessed. I'm like, I get to get out of this chair and go down, get in my van and drive across America, and this person in the booth next to me, she's looking at hospice, you know what I mean? And all of these, earlier in the day, I'm sitting in the waiting room of the oncologist, and I know everybody in that friggin' waiting room is doing the same thing that I'm doing. They're just trying to maintain and hold on and make it through, and they've got all sorts of people that are hoping that they make it through, and some make it and some don't, and the lame and the halt, the just I was one of them, I've been one of them, and it's so humbling, in a good way, in the best way. And I want to thank everybody that's over the course of this thing has donated, time, money, resources to, keep me alive and smiling, and not dead, not dead yet, and there aren't enough words, so I'm hoping, we left it at I'm going to do phone consultations, check-ins at 3 weeks and 6 weeks out from here. I wanted that because this double dose thing, in case the symptoms get too overwhelming, I want to at least have somebody paying attention. So so that's my summer ahead, is just recovering from the rest of this double dose and the rest of what's happened over I mean, it really feels like I've been through something, you know what I mean? I mean, it felt like it last year, but it was, last year was last year. This past year has been, what an incredible journey. Not the least of which has been, learning to fly, has made, I was talking on the phone last night with my friend, Mary Margaret, who's been a major supporter, just moral support. And I was saying that, this whole period has felt like, it's been I want to get this right. One of the things that I have to say, at some point I had to recognize that I signed up for this, and while I faced death through it several times, I never really felt like this was it for me, even in those first 2 months when I didn't know how long I had to live, not that anybody ever does, but they didn't give me any kind of time frame, and I own that this is a path that I chose before I came to Earth, and the reason I chose it, it's very obvious to me, was as an activation, it's now, it's time for me to do what I came to Earth to do, whatever I have left to do, and whatever I was holding back, putting off till someday, there's no waiting for someday anymore. And I was saying to my friend Mary Margaret is that I have very few regrets about, like as an example, when I was first diagnosed, a lot of times when people get, life-threatening diagnoses, they think, I've got to go someplace and I've got to do something, right? I was already in a place that I really wanted to be, you know? And there were only two places that at that point, that I felt that I at least needed to visit before, you know, if I was going to like die, right? And one was back on the Cape, and the other was Big Sur, you know? And so, but other than that, on the planet, you know, I've been all over the world, you know, and not just like, you know, fly by night. I mean, you know, on the Rainbow Trail, I'm on the ground. I'm meeting the locals. I'm, you know, sitting on the earth and feeling the energy and being mindful, you know. And there, you know, there isn't any place on the planet that I'm like, oh man, I've got to make it to that place. You know, I've already been there. And those places that I used to feel that I haven't made it to, I don't feel that way about them anymore, because the places that I went to kind of like filled me in. So I feel like, I feel, you know, very complete. I don't feel like I'm, what regrets I have, as I was telling my friend Mary Margaret, was what regrets I have are kind of petty, because and over the past 2 months or so, you know, while I've been going through these 6 infusions and initiations, 6 levels of initiation, is what they've been kind of processing. I've been processing these regrets, and what if I had to typify them? They all have to do with human interactions that I've had with people, or not had with people, where I criticize myself for not having been more conscious, or more compassionate, because now I know what's important. You know, I know that human interaction is all we're here for. You know what I mean? What we can do with and for one another is there's nothing more priceless than that. You know, I mean, you could doesn't matter what you got in your pocket, doesn't matter what you own. You know, you can't take any of that shit with you, and what you do take with you is how you are changed by being here. You know, and what changes you most is your interactions with other people. You know, so anyway, I feel very fulfilled. I feel very blessed, and because I don't feel distracted by you know, regrets and that kind of thing, it frees me up to do the work that I have to do ahead. You know what I mean? It's like I have no distractions. I have absolutely no distractions other than the work that I do. You know, the art, the writing, the movies, the music, the creating. You know, and teach. I'm a couple things. True confessions. Okay, I am a compulsive teacher. I will mansplain the shit out of at the drop of a hat of anything and everything. I'm guilty as fucking charged, you know, because I love sharing information, you know, stuff that's wondrous to me. I just love doing it. Another thing is I have delusions of grandeur. So for all intents and purposes, I am delusional, right? And I have these grand images of things that come to me, and I'm I should do that, right? And so the question is it a delusion of grandeur when you actually accomplish the thing that you thought that you should? That's not delusional anymore, right? So I've had enough of those things that that came to me and said, wow, that would be really amazing if I did that thing. You know, if somebody did that thing, why don't I do that thing, you know? And I've had it happen so many times where I was that one person that made a difference, you know? I've been that guy. where there's thousands of people doing whatever they're doing, and one person steps in the middle of that thing and sees what's up and says, hey, what if we did this? And then everybody goes, oh yeah, that's a great idea, let's do that. And it changed the world, literally, because all those thousands of people were from all over the friggin' world, and they went out, they changed their lives, but because they went on that course, that path, and then all the lives that their lives are touching were changed because, one person's, said, hey, why don't we do it? Has anybody thought about doing it this way? I've seen that, I've done that, I've been that person enough times. And so I feel like, one person can be a lever, right? Can be the last straw, right? Or the one that tips the balance in a positive direction. And another true confession is I recognize that I and everybody I will ever meet is a cosmic operative, right? We've all chosen to be here. We've all designed our incarnation in consort with the whole soul group, and we're all playing out these roles. And one of the key components of that is forgetting that we do that. And only those whose mission can be served by an awareness of that can have that awareness. And part of my mission is on earth that I've chosen is to be one of those people. So anyway, blah blah blah. That's kind of a little bit of what I've been reasoning out and working through, and why I feel in so many ways truly fulfilled no matter what happens from this moment forward. And 30 years ago, I would have been devastated by what happened last night. Getting stuck on the side of the road and mechanics and not knowing what was up and la 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 la. But last night, I went through it. I went through I've been through it so many times, being stuck on the side of the road. And because of some mechanical something or other, because that's what happens when you own Volkswagens for 30 years, right? Old school. And now I have this also German-made, Mercedes-Benz Dodge Sprinter, and it's got, it's old and it's got its personality and whatnot, and it's it's doing what it's doing, and but what happened wasn't the end of the friggin' world, whereas in the past it might have been, but one of the reasons why it wasn't the end of the world is because I'd been through it so many times, and obviously that prepared me, because one of the things about when you're in a crisis is not knowing. It's the not knowing that really can, tear you up. And if you can get to a place where you're okay with not knowing, with not having all the answers, and you feel, still okay inside of yourself, then you can pretty much deal with anything, So, anyway, la-di-da. Maybe I should read some of what's here. Oh, Angelina. How you doing, girl? Goodness. I had a dream of you. I support your high-octane vision, manifestation, and teaching. On a soul level, you have made the difference. You know, as a compulsive teacher and mansplainer, I got to tell you, it's all about, there's nothing more fulfilling than hearing from people that you made a difference in their life. And I, you know, for 30, 40 years, I've made a point of trying to be that person, you know. That's why I was on Venice Beach all those years, is to just be on station to hold the space in case somebody walked up that needed the answer to the question, right? Whatever that question was. Hey, you see this white hair coming out of my nose? Is that distracting? No? Yes? It's distracting to me, but I've learned a long time ago that it's, you know, if you pluck it, it's just going to grow back and blah, 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 blah. So this is what I got to work with, and I feel pretty blessed, you know. So anyway, thank you. I hope everything's good, Angelina, and tell your mother I said, hey, you know, I think about you guys, and I wish you well. So I feel like I've been on here a while, and I should probably cut it short, so I can post this on YouTube, and hopefully I'll fix this auxiliary water pump situation. Oh, I should show you. I should show it to you. Hold on a second. Okay. So, you see that? The water, you know, it's supposed to go through here, come out here, and obviously all the coolant came out through this friggin' hole right here. And you see this? Look at that. Yeah. But we're gonna fix it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being alive. Thanks for giving a hoot, paying attention. For what it's worth. Yeah, so in case anybody was wondering, saw those pictures of me and that amazing dog Jasper. Jasper is back on his mission of taking care of my sister. That friggin' love muffin who has his whole universe is all about sticking his tongue into your nostril. Right? That's what he lives for. Because, you know, that's the most intimate he could be, is to stick his tongue in your nostril. That guy, he has a mission of just loving the bejeebers out of my sister, who is entirely deserving of all the love she can get at this point. She's been a nurse, you know, a dialysis nurse for, I don't know, 30 years or so. And she's semi-retired right now, and living in a tiny home that she found in Pacifica, and loving it. And she just got Jasper a couple of months ago, and she had to go to the East Coast to get rid of her house over there. And while she was gone, I was taking care of Jasper, and we had a great time. Fortunately, I was able to take off his collar, and he and I were able to hang out without a lot of like leashes and all that kind of stuff. And I think a person, whether it's a dog or in anything, is better without like a leash. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I mean, there's other people that they like leashes. I'm not a real leash person or a collar person or constraint person, which is kind of funny being Capricorn rising. You would think it'd be the other way around. Anyway, I seem to have a lot to say. Why do I love that? Love you, bro. I love you. You are loved by me, little old me over here. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, I just remembered. I have one more, what you call your revelation that was given to me. The most important revelation I had when I was up in Big Sur for the solstice meditation. So where you are right now, if you listen, you can hear the high-pitched hum-hiss sound that I call the divine vibration. This is the vibration by which all things are manifest in the universe and its infinite consciousness, right? And I've been listening, knowing that this is what it is, since 1994, I think. 94? No, 93. December 93. And what came to me during the meditation in Big Sur the other day is that, so I'm sitting there looking at the ocean about an hour before sunset, where the sunlight is reflecting off of the waves, and there's like a carpet of light all the way to the horizon, right? The shaft of light all the way to the horizon, and the edges of it you can see kind of shimmering, and it's shimmering at a certain frequency, right? And so I'm listening to the divine vibration, and the shimmering started to match a harmonic of the divine vibration. And when I listened to that sound and saw the light matching the vibration, matching a harmonic of the vibration, I started to feel this euphoria, right? I started to feel that there was like this triangle of awareness, and that I was somehow synchronizing with the divine vibration itself by giving it my undivided attention, but also the natural environment. I could see it. I could see the vibration in the world, right? And so I just kept playing with that, playing with trying to see the rhythm, the natural harmonic of nature's rhythms, the wind blowing through trees like I'm seeing right now, and seeing and sensing its harmony in its harmonic within the divine vibration, which is the vibration by which all things are manifest. All vibrations are within that. All the sacred geometry in the universe is in the divine vibration, and there isn't anything that can exist in the creation unless it's in a harmonic of the divine vibration, right? And so, consciously being aware and seeing that while listening to the divine vibration causes this synchronization in us. And when we're doing that, when we're in that space, there isn't anything, there's nothing more that we have to do. You know what I mean? There isn't anything more that the universe, the source of the universe, would want us to be doing than to giving our undivided attention and synchronizing, right? And as we're benefiting ourselves, obviously all the lives our life touch are benefited. So anyway, just thought I'd share that little piece, Ode to Pie. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And remember, we love you. Where's that button? There.